Hi guys, Coach Ed Haynes here to talk about the fitness program in the absence of Coach Ant Haynes, who's obviously away at regionals. Good luck, Ant. So guys, obviously we're one week into our new block. I just want to give you a quick bit of information as to what our focus is now. Same thing as all the other groups, not too much change in terms of what our focus is right now, which is basically getting all of you guys stronger. All went through the Open. When the Open finished, remember we entered a rebuilding block. So right now we're in weeks 4 to 8 of an accumulation phase. And what accumulation work means is basically higher volume, lower intensity. And when we talk about intensity with regards to weight training, we typically regard intensity as an expression of 1 rep max. So a set of 1 to 5 reps is what we would regard as a high intensity set because it's heavy loads. And a set of 20 reps, for example, would be what we would refer to as low intensity weight training. Doesn't mean it doesn't feel hard, it's just how we would refer to it. So basically what we're going to talk about is how we're looking at your week right now and where we see changes. Not too much changes in terms of our daily focus, but some progression, as I'm sure you guys have seen. So on a Monday, you're always going to start with a skill mobility segment. So right now you're seeing things like some Russian swings, some PVC pipe or light bar overhead squats. The idea is whilst it looks like a 3 rounds for time or an AMRAP style piece, we want this to be a quality focus. So we want you to take your time with it. Make sure when there's things like skipping or double under practice that you're not just going through the motions, you're using this as a chance for skill development. Obviously the coach is going to be watching you and helping you along the way. Lower body weight training intensification, so we're moving away from higher rep work, we're moving more towards lower reps, heavier weight, and of course that's the way we always progress with strength development. And you're going to start to see some mixed modal work. Mixed modal means some kind of like some variation in your conditioning, but we have a squat focus for you guys. So you're going to notice things like rowing into wall balls, rowing into lunging into wall balls, all that kind of stuff, which is excessive knee flexion, building some stamina and endurance through the quads. Tuesdays, again, similar to Mondays, you're going to have like a scap shoulder stability segment at the start, things like kettlebell windmills, Turkish get-ups, handstand holding, scapular hangs, all that kind of stuff. Again, whilst it looks like it's a 3 rounds for time or an AMRAP style piece, again, it's a quality focus. We're not trying to race each other here. We're trying to move with a purpose and make sure we're learning and understanding the new skills and why we do it. A lot of the stuff in these 2 pieces has a lot of transfer into other exercises like overhead pressing, upper body pulling, lower body movements, etc. Upper body, we're working on strength endurance. So you're going to see on a Tuesday, you see that every minute on the minute piece. Basically what you see with every minute on the minute work is it's still strength training, fairly high reps with very short rests. So you're going to be breathing a lot more, as I'm sure you found, but the focus is still strength work there. It's not necessarily purely conditioning. You're going to see kind of 15 to 20 minutes of continuous work there. You'll find with those pieces, the movements involved in that 20 minutes, they're not things like burpees and box jumps and kettlebell swings which you can cycle through fast. They're slow, controlled, strict movements, and there's a reason for that. We're just trying to develop strength. Wednesdays, of course, your rest day. Thursdays, it's upper body intensification work. This is your upper body priority day. So again, going heavier with your loads, lower with your reps. Upper body hypertrophy every minute on the minute pieces. So again, this is going to be fairly varied. You're going to see movements come and go in these pieces. Same idea as on a Tuesday. Short rest periods, higher rep work. Want you guys building muscle tissue. That's the idea. Some shoulder remedial pieces with things like external rotations and power raises, just making sure we keep those shoulders healthy. Really important, especially for you guys who are fairly new to weight training, that we don't just focus on the big movements all the time, things like bench press, strict press, push-ups, but we're looking after the stabilizers in our shoulders, ankles, hips, and knees as well. Obviously, you're going to see handstand holding in there a couple times a week. We're going to get you guys comfortable being upside down. It's not just to progress you with handstand work down the line, but it's also to build things like overhead stability and overhead endurance. Again, big carryover into all the other movements we see. Friday, you guys are going to see you have a clean complex. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be very new to Olympic lifting. Having said that, you know, there's an argument to be said, should beginners be doing Olympic lifting? I think there's huge validity in teaching you guys the basics of this, learning triple extension and how to control a barbell. Of course, we're not going to be going heavy here. Your focus is skill development. All right, so keep these loads light, listen to your coaches, and make sure you really understand what we're trying to achieve when we do things like cleans. Deadlift strength development. So again, heavier loads relative to what you're doing in the last blocks. Deadlifting, obviously a very important functional movement that we must incorporate into our program, some form of it all the time. You're gonna see some upper body accessory work tied in there, and of course, we're gonna finish your week off with some midline work. Never do enough midline work, guys. Saturday, still gonna work with team workouts. Hope you guys have been enjoying these. You're also gonna have that skills segment. Shingo's been doing a really good job on the basics of gymnastics. And whilst you guys typically don't see much high-skill gymnastics work in your program, learning the basics of how to control your midline and how to control your scapula when you're hanging on a bar or being upside down, again, huge transfer to other exercises. And it's really good for some of you who might eventually one day want to move into performance. To have those basics nailed down now is going to really help your acceleration as an athlete. Of course, worth me saying, the overall focus for all groups is still on strength. Barbell Club, if that's something that interests you and you want to learn more about Olympic lifting, Cheryl is running a really good service now. In the next couple of months, we're going to be opening that 3 times a week because we're getting loads of interest there. Remember, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be an advanced lifter to join that, so long as you hit our prerequisites, which is basically an overhead squat and a front squat, you're good to go. Make sure you're staying on top of your mobility work. This is a whole nother segment that we can get into, and we're going to be releasing some videos over the next few weeks to help you guys. But we do have those posters down the end of the gym, which has targeted mobility exercise for different parts of your body. If you know you're tight, make sure you take a couple of minutes after class, speak to a coach in terms of what recommendations they think are good for you, and make sure you're doing your daily mobility protocols. It's only going to help with all this other stuff down the line. Cool, guys. Keep up the good work.